Gold has always been a symbol of wealth and power, but what most people don't know is how it drove thousands of people to risk everything. The gold rushes of the 19th century were a wild race for riches that changed the world forever. From the dusty hills of California to the outback of Australia and up to the icy rivers of the Klondike, people from all walks of life left everything behind for the chance to strike it rich. But while some found fortune, many others faced hardships they never imagined. In this video, we'll uncover the shocking truth about these famous gold rushes and how they shaped history. The California Gold Rush kicked off in January 1848 when James Marshall found gold at Sutter's Mill near the South Fork of the American River. This discovery came right after California became a U.S. territory, following the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. At first, the news of gold didn't spread quickly. It took nearly a year for people outside California to hear about it due to poor communication. But when they finally did, the rush was on, and it changed everything. By 1849, people from all over the world, known as 49 ERs, came flooding into California, hoping to strike it rich. This sudden boom turned quiet towns into busy cities almost overnight. At first, miners used simple tools like pans to collect gold from riverbanks, but as the easy-to-find gold ran out, they turned to hydraulic mining, a method that used powerful water jets to break down hillsides. While this method was effective, it caused a lot of environmental damage, with rivers clogged up and landscapes destroyed. The rapid growth of the population also brought chaos and lawlessness. California, far from the federal government's control, quickly became a wild and dangerous place. People, frustrated by the lack of law enforcement, took matters into their own hands. They formed vigilante groups to keep order, often using violent means. Despite these challenges, California moved quickly to create its own constitution in 1849, declaring itself a free state. This action added fuel to the growing debate over slavery in the US, which eventually led to the Civil War. The Australian gold rush began in 1851, not long after the rush in California, and it would leave a lasting mark on the country. The first big find was made near Bathurst, New South Wales, by Edward Hargreaves, who had just returned from California. Word spread fast, and soon people from all over the world were heading to Australia, hoping to find gold. Small settlements quickly grew into bustling towns as more and more miners arrived, ready to make their fortunes. While New South Wales was where it all started, Victoria soon became the main focus of the Australian gold rush. Huge goldfields were discovered in places like Ballarat and Bendigo, and these finds brought even more people to the area. The gold rush in Victoria was much bigger than in New South Wales, and it shifted Australia's economy from farming to mining. The wealth generated from gold helped build roads, railways, and other important infrastructure that shaped modern Australia. However, life on the goldfields was tough. Miners had to deal with harsh conditions, including difficult living environments and the constant risk of not finding any gold. The situation became so frustrating that in 1854, the miners in Ballarat rebelled against the government's harsh licensing system in what became known as the Eureka Stockade. The conflict resulted in 27 deaths, but it also led to important changes in how the goldfields were managed and had a lasting impact on Australian democracy. Despite the difficulties, the Australian gold rush was a turning point for the country. It brought new wealth, people, and ideas that helped transform the colonies into a united nation. Just when it seemed the gold rush fever had died down, a new discovery in the cold, remote Yukon region of Canada sparked another rush, this time to the Klondike. The Klondike Gold Rush, which began in 1896, became one of the most famous and challenging gold rushes in history. It started when 3 prospectors discovered gold in Rabbit Creek, which was later renamed Bonanza Creek, near Dawson City in Canada's Yukon Territory. The news took a while to spread, but when a steamship arrived in Seattle in 1897, carrying over a ton of gold, the world took notice. This sparked a massive rush, with around 100,000 people attempting to make the tough journey to the Klondike. The trip to the Klondike was extremely difficult. Those seeking fortune had to deal with freezing temperatures, dangerous mountain passes, and a lack of basic infrastructure. The journey involved crossing steep mountains and navigating icy rivers, with many people losing their lives along the way. Even after reaching the Klondike, many found that the best claims had already been taken. The miners had to deal with extremely cold weather, limited supplies, and a very short mining season because of the harsh winters. With freezing temperatures and isolation, life in the Klondike was rough. Many faced hunger, frostbite, and sickness, and for most, the dream of finding gold remained just that, a dream. Of the 100,000 who set out, only about 30,000 made it to the goldfields, and very few struck it rich. Most of those who arrived late had to work for others, just trying to earn back the money they spent getting there. Despite the hardships, Dawson City grew rapidly, from a small town of 500 people in 1896 to a busy center of 30,000 by 1898. The Klondike gold rush eventually ended when gold was discovered in Nome, Alaska in 1899. Many miners left for the new strike, but the legacy of the Klondike lives on. The Klondike gold rush may have been the last big gold rush in North America. It led to the growth of places like Dawson City and played a huge role in Canada's development. But not everything about the gold rushes was golden. Beneath the excitement and the dreams of wealth were some dark and troubling realities. The rushes caused environmental damage, as rivers were polluted and forests were cleared. Native populations were forced off their lands and their ways of life were disrupted. Many miners faced brutal conditions, and most ended up with little to show for their efforts. The rushes also led to conflicts, both between different groups of miners and with local populations. These less glamorous sides of the gold rush remind us that the pursuit of wealth often comes with a heavy price. So these were the gold rushes that shaped the regions where they occurred. They brought both growth and challenges. Even today, the stories of these rushes remind us of the lengths people will go to for wealth and the costs that can come with it. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe for more on history. We will see you in the next one.